We need to make sure we're sending a message to people all throughout the world that the House is open and doing the people's business, making sure that we're unequivocally standing in our first resolution that we pass under Speaker Steve Scalise will be to make it clear that we stand with Israel.
That's Steve Scalise, in case you're wondering. He's running to be House Speaker. You've, of course, heard the term House divided. House Republicans are indeed divided. They still can't get their act together and come up with a speaker, as are Republicans in general over their nominee for president. Our good friend George Will just wrote, "Tim Scott, please drop out. Urge others to follow and unite behind Haley." The column included a disclosure at the top. The columnist's wife, Mari Will, an advisor to Republican presidential candidate Tim Scott, as you might imagine, disagrees with this column. It was right there on the website to see. And George is with us now. You look remarkably well rested for a guy who's been sleeping on the couch.
Well, I have strong opinions, and my wife, Lord knows, has strong opinions, and we get along anyway.
Okay, well, we're glad to hear that. We're going to side with Mrs. Will in all arguments, just out of personal loyalty. But did you pull Nikki Haley's name out of a hat? What's the deal here?
I think she is, very qualified to be president. I think she's been the most interesting candidate so far in terms of policy. I think she's in the Real Clear Politics average. In 4 polls, she beats Mr. Biden now, before she's a household name across the country, by 4.5 points. When there was, I think, if she were a binary choice against Mr. Trump, I think she'd be the strongest candidate.
All right, so this is getting down to this idea of a one-on-one matchup with Donald Trump. Houses divided cannot stand, we are told. Republicans can't seem to get their act together when it comes to a House Speaker. They cannot get their House together when it comes to a candidate either. I said with Elizabeth Vargas, I said, never underestimate Republicans' ability to screw things up. Why do you have any hope that that's not going to happen?
Because well, it won't happen spontaneously. That's why I wrote the column, which was to get Mr. Scott, who I picked because he has, in my judgment, I admire Mr. Scott as much as Mrs. Will does, and I think he has the character to put country over personal ambition this time around. The fact is that all 5 or 6, however many are going to proceed, have the same plan. They're going to do well in Iowa, or concentrate in New Hampshire, come out of New Hampshire strong enough to get to South Carolina, all 5 or 6. That is a recipe for dividing the Trump vote and for Trump being nominated. And if Trump is nominated, that is a guarantee that the Democrats will not rethink the nomination of Joe Biden. The country doesn't want either of them. They certainly do not want 2020 run over again.
It's the one thing the country actually agrees on. How much are we to read in, and you can give us a historical basis on this, that the dysfunction that we see among Republicans, which is real, especially in the House, and to a certain extent in the presidential primary, but the dysfunction in the House, how much are we to believe that that is sort of unprecedented, as you would see from some of our cable news competitors, and how much of that is just sort of what has happened in Washington since the modern politics? We're just seeing the sausage being made more because dysfunction among Republicans is fun to broadcast.
Didn't used to be this way, Leland. When Sam Rayburn for 17 years was Speaker of the House for the Democrats, Tip O'Neill for the Democrats, Joe Martin for the Republicans, you didn't have this kind of fight. What makes this fight particularly sort of characteristic of today's politics is that it's empty of substance. Scalise, who's the choice of the conference to put forward to be the next speaker, Scalise is ideologically a little bit more conservative than Kevin McCarthy, but basically a clown. This is not about...
no, this isn't about ideology. It's about...
The interesting thing, I suppose, is that Donald Trump, in his role as Pope of the Republican Party, tried to bless Jordan, and it didn't work.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.